April 28, 1988. A beautiful day in Hawaii. Aloha Airlines Flight 243 climbs to 24,000 feet for a routine 35-minute island hop. Then passengers hear an explosion. And suddenly, they can see the sky. The roof is gone, ripped completely off. An 18-foot section of the aircraft has vanished into thin air. Flight attendant Clarabelle Lansing is sucked out instantly, for miles down into the Pacific Ocean. Her body is never found. But somehow, impossibly, 94 other people survive. This is the story of the miracle survival of Aloha Airlines Flight 243. I'm Fly High Hub, and this is how 94 people lived through the impossible. April 28, 1988. Aloha Airlines Flight 243 is a short island hopping route from Hilo to Honolulu. These inter-island flights are routine. Locals use them like buses. The aircraft is a Boeing 737-200. 19 years old, but well-maintained. On board, 90 passengers and 5 crew members. Captain Robert Skornsteimer, 44 years old, and First Officer Madeline Mimi Tompkins, 36. 3 flight attendants, Clarabelle C.B. Lansing, 58 years old with 37 years of service. Michelle Honda and Jane Sato Tomita. It's a gorgeous day, clear blue skies, perfect flying weather. At 1:25 p.m., Flight 243 takes off. The 737 climbs smoothly to 24,000 feet. Passengers settle in. Everything is completely normal. And then, at 1:48 p.m., just 23 minutes into the flight, everything changes. Passengers hear a loud whoosh. Like an explosion, but different. A tearing, ripping sound. The entire upper section of the fuselage, from just behind the cockpit to the front edge of the wing, tears completely off the aircraft. 18 feet of roof. Just gone. The pressure difference creates explosive force. Everything not secured is violently sucked upward. Seats rip from the floor. Luggage explodes from overhead bins. A 300-mile-per-hour hurricane roars through the cabin. And flight attendant Clarabelle Lansing, standing in the aisle, is sucked out instantly through the massive opening. She vanishes into the sky, 4.5 miles above the Pacific Ocean. Passengers scream. One passenger is nearly pulled out. Other passengers grab her and hold on. 8 people suffer serious injuries from flying debris. Everyone remaining can suddenly see blue Hawaiian sky where the ceiling should be. The wind is deafening. Breathing is difficult at this altitude. Oxygen masks drop. Passengers desperately pull them on. And in the cockpit, the pilots have no idea what just happened. Captain Skornsteimer hears the explosion. The cockpit door blows open. He looks back and sees blue sky where the cabin ceiling should be. His first thought, we just had a mid-air collision. Then he realizes the roof is gone. First Officer Tompkins immediately grabs the controls and begins an emergency descent. They need to get below 10,000 feet to breathable air. But they have no idea if the plane will hold together. Will the wings tear off? Will the entire aircraft disintegrate? Skornsteimer declares an emergency. Center, we have explosive decompression. The roof of the aircraft is gone. The controller can barely believe it. Say again, Aloha 243. The roof is gone. Requesting immediate clearance to Kahului, Maui. The pilots face an impossible situation. They're flying a Boeing 737 with an 18-foot section of roof missing. The controls are responding, but unpredictably. They descend at 7,000 feet per minute, extremely aggressive. But they also keep the speed around 180 knots, much slower than normal. Too fast, and the plane could break apart. They're 13 minutes from Kahului Airport. 13 minutes that feel like an eternity. Behind them, in the cabin, flight attendants are fighting to save lives. When the roof tore off, flight attendants Michelle Honda and Jane Sato Tomita were thrown to the floor. Honda grabbed a seat to avoid being sucked out. She watched CB Lansing disappear into the sky. Just gone. Sato Tomita was knocked unconscious and bleeding from a head injury. But when she came to, she immediately began helping passengers. The wind is so violent they can't stand. They crawl through the cabin on their hands and knees, checking on passengers. Many are injured. Several are screaming, convinced they're going to die. The flight attendants, exposed to freezing wind, struggling to breathe, traumatized, somehow keep passengers calm. They secure people in seats. They check oxygen masks. They prevent panic that could have caused more deaths. Honda later said, I thought we were going to crash. But I kept thinking, if we're going to die, I want to help as many people as I can. And in the cockpit, the pilots are preparing for the most critical landing of their lives. As they approach Maui, they face another terrifying moment, lowering the landing gear. Will the hydraulics still work? If the gear doesn't come down, they'll have to belly land, which could cause the weakened structure to collapse. Skornsteimer lowers the gear. Green lights illuminate. It's locked. Now the flaps. Deploying flaps puts stress on the wings. With the fuselage compromised, this could tear the wings off. Slowly, carefully, they extend flaps partway. The aircraft shudders, but it holds together. Ahead, Kahului Airport. Fire trucks lined up. News helicopters circling. At 2:01 p.m., just 13 minutes after the roof tore off, the Boeing 737 touches down. The landing is smooth. Perfect, even. Passengers erupt. Some crying. Some cheering. Some in shocked silence. Emergency crews surround the aircraft. Passengers evacuate. The injured are taken to ambulances. When first responders see the damage, an 18-foot section of roof completely missing, they're stunned anyone survived. 94 people just lived through what should have killed them all. But one person didn't make it. Clarabelle Lansing. Her body was never recovered from the Pacific Ocean. Final toll, 1 death, 8 serious injuries, 65 total injuries, and 1 Boeing 737 destroyed. The National Transportation Safety Board investigated. What they found was shocking. The cause, metal fatigue, but not normal aging. This aircraft had 89,000 flight cycles, extraordinarily high. Here's why. Every takeoff, the cabin pressurizes. Every landing, it depressurizes. That's 1 cycle. Each cycle stresses the metal. Most 19-year-old aircraft have 20,000 to 30,000 cycles. This 737 had 89,000. Why? Aloha's short island flights. 25 to 35 minutes each. Multiple flights daily. Sometimes 8 or 10 cycles in one day. Add Hawaii's salty ocean air causing corrosion, and you have accelerated structural weakening. Small cracks had been detected before. Maintenance had applied patches, but they didn't realize the extent. Cracks were spreading beneath the surface, invisible, connecting together. On April 28th, those cracks reached critical point. The pressurized cabin pushed outward. The weakened metal couldn't hold, and an entire section tore away. Here's why the plane survived it all. Boeing 737s have multiple load paths, structural redundancy. Even with the roof gone, the floor and wing attachments held it together. If the failure had occurred near the wings, the aircraft would have broken apart completely. Also, the pilots kept speed low. At higher speeds, aerodynamic forces would have ripped the plane apart. The design, the failure location, and the pilot's careful speed management all contributed to 94 people surviving. The crash sent shockwaves through aviation. Within days, all high-cycle Boeing 737s were grounded for emergency inspections. Multiple aircraft were found with hidden cracks. Several were immediately retired. The FAA implemented sweeping changes, enhanced inspection procedures for high-cycle aircraft, mandatory structural sampling programs, corrosion monitoring for coastal aircraft, retirement schedules based on cycles, not just years, advanced testing that can detect cracks before they become catastrophic. Today, inspectors specifically look for the type of fatigue cracks that brought down Aloha 243. Clarabelle Lansing's death and the miraculous survival of 94 others changed aviation maintenance forever. The survivors suffer from PTSD for years. Many never fly again. They hold annual reunions to support each other. Captain Skornsteimer and First Officer Tompkins receive commendations for their skill. Flight attendants Honda and Sato Tomita received awards for their courage. There's a memorial in Hawaii to Clarabelle Lansing. Flowers are left regularly by survivors and family. 94 people lived because pilots kept their cool, because flight attendants showed incredible courage, because the aircraft held together just long enough, and because investigators learned from the disaster. The next time you board a plane, inspectors have already checked for the exact cracks that tore open Aloha 243. Maintenance crews monitor every high-cycle aircraft. Engineers design planes to survive catastrophic damage. One flight attendant lost her life. 94 people survived the impossible. And millions have flown more safely because of what happened on that day in 1988. If you found this incredible, hit subscribe. I cover aviation disasters, survival stories, and the lessons that keep flying safe. What other impossible survivals should I investigate? Comment below. Thanks for flying with Fly High Hub.